Do the Eagles have an identity crisis? Heck, do they even know what their identity is or what they want their identity to be? What are the problems that they're facing? I don't know. Yesterday, and listening to Nick Sirianni speak and all the rumors and the drama, to me, created as many more questions than answers and solutions. We're going to continue this Eagles talk, trending in the AM. We are live, taking your thoughts and opinions. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live. YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill. Wherever you're watching, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share this out on all social media platforms. It's free to do. It does not cost you a thing to help this awesome channel grow, to support this great channel. Just hit those buttons, like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on Twitter, head over to the YouTube page to watch if you want, but it's also the only place you can vote on our poll question of the day. Which of these four options is the biggest problem with the Eagles and their recent struggles? Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, or Kevin Patullo's play calling? Make sure you vote, you like, you subscribe. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel. We got lots to get into today. Obviously, plenty more Eagles talk to dive into. More thoughts and theories on what the Eagles need to do to fix the problems, what the Eagles need to do to right the ship. Obviously, some other Eagles news to get into as well. Some specifically talking about Kevin Patullo and his personal life. So there's lots to dive into, but I don't want to waste any time. I want to get right to the comments because they're already rolling in. No identity crisis. They know exactly who they are. They obviously identify as the 2023 Eagles team. And I know a lot of us have felt this way. I know a lot of us have talked about the potential collapse 2.0. Jordan Mailata on his Monday night show on WWIP was very adamant in saying the coaching technique is there this year. It was not in 2023. Basically shutting down that theory, Duck, that this team is 23. Now, I don't know if that's just talk or not, but according to Jordan Mailata, this team is different. And good morning to you, yes, as well. The choice I would pick is not on the poll. The offensive line's fault. Absolutely. You know what's funny? I was reading something came across my line on Twitter yesterday, and it was the updated Pro Bowl voting. And pretty much the entire Eagles offensive line is in the top 10 of Pro Bowl voting of the offensive line. Like, really? What's wrong with Pro Bowl voting? You know how many Eagles were in the top 10? A whole bunch. You know who was not in the top 10 in Pro Bowl voting in their position? Quinion Mitchell. Arguably the best cornerback in all of football. But yes, the O-line is a big part of the problem. Without properly play calling at the right time, your foundation is suspect. Very possible. And we're going to get into this play calling. Is there a change coming in a second here? Vikings collapse. Thielen's pieced out. Yes, J.J. McCarty might come back, though. Yay. Team was completely built to run, and in a record-breaking year, let's hire the passing game coordinator. Not the worst statement right there, obviously. It's chaotic. They're going to his house. Yeah, we got to get into this really disappointing information that came out. We're gonna get into it. Let me catch up a few more comments real quick. Good morning, Susan. I can't stay long, but I just wanted to say how disappointed I am in the Philly fans for egging. Yeah, all right. So you know what? We're not even going to waste any time. We're going to get right into this. Obviously, Kevin Patullo's house was egged this past weekend. Idiotic fans did it, first off. Idiotic fans recorded themselves doing it. And idiotic fans just furthered the narrative that Eagles fans are just awful people when this kind of shit happens everywhere. But why would we go to the lengths of finding out where the coach lives and destroying? Why are we egging houses in the first place in 2025. Eggs are freaking expensive. Like, it's just a despicable thing to do that to him, his family. His wife and kids live there. The fact that they're out there egging his house, it's just deplorable. It's terrible behavior. It's uncalled for. Those people should be arrested and put in jail for as long as they can. It's just terrible. And it's something I have fought for so long, to change the narrative. Philly fans, we're not awful. We're no worse than any other city. In fact, we're better than other cities. But yet now we're going to hear all about it all day today, how awful we are, how terrible we are. First snowballs at Santa, now eggs at Patullo. That narrative is just going to be driven in the ground. And it's 3 or 4 idiotic people that push a narrative about entire fan base that's not like that. It's terrible. It pisses me off. It annoys me. And it's a waste of money as well. I blame Barkley. He is not the same player this year. Tatsuya, he's not. And how much of that's on him, and how much of that's on the O-line, and how much of that's on the play calling? How much of it's on Sirianni, how much of it on Hurts? Or how much of it is he's just not good enough this year? None of the above. Lack of depth. We were paying for it on the D-line. Vanilla Gorilla not playing. Vanilla Gorilla not playing is an interesting conversation, and the why. Patullo has a personal life. Yeah, who knew, right? The kicker stubbed his toe. What? Good morning, Lil G. How you doing? We are going to kick the Chargers' butts, I hope. Dart looked away and said, what? Eagles have not fired KP. Pro Bowl is friends and long-term reputation, 100%. Lack of depth in the trenches, seriously. I know lack of depth in the trenches is a problem. You know that. I've been talking about it before it was cool to talk about it. But it can't be the only problem. There's got to be other problems with this house, this team right now. The house was egged. Yes, I know that. Egging is something you do to Vince Vaughn's house after the Blackhawks win the cup. You don't do it to your own. You just don't do it, period. I still got this memory of my dad when we were young. We were still in Seacane in Delco. And I want to say one of my brother's friends got pissed at him and egged our house, but we had stucco. We had a stucco house. And trying to get dried up egg out of stucco. I still remember my dad cussing and screaming about it. It was our side of our house over our side door. He was so pissed off. Egg in a coordinator's house exemplifies Negadelphia. That's the thing. Those 3 idiots, Rick, don't mirror who we are as a fan base. Every city's got these assholes in them. Every fan base has some bad eggs, not to use the play on words there. Yet, if this happened in any other city, if Chip Kelly's house got egged in Vegas, no one's talking about it. But because it's Philly, it is. And that 1% of our fan base that causes problems keeps that identity that we have, that we're trying to fix, it grows it even more. And it's frustrating. It pisses me off. Why the hell would you egg a house? Why are you terrifying a family over a game? It's a game. Well, Duck, it could be you, you know. You've been pretty harsh on the guy. A drive-by egging, it's a missed fire. Breaking news, there's good and bad people everywhere. Exactly. But the thing is, you know what I'm talking about, Nooms. This is going to be a narrative driven about how awful we are. That we're the only ones that do bad. I mean, there was a soccer stadium a few years ago lit on fire by their fans that were pissed off. But that barely got any news because it wasn't the Philadelphia. It's not jail time for eggs. Well, it should be. That's right, K1. I know it was you. You broke my heart. Yeah. Phil, look at the Giants game. Kicker stubbed his toe in the ground during field goal try and the sack the holder. Okay. I did not watch any of that. I watched Christmas movies last night. These idiots need to be found and arrested. They'll be found because they were dumb enough to post the video of themselves doing it all over social media. Joe Brady better hope fans don't find his house. I bet you none of these fans are from or live in Philly. This sounds like a Delco thing. Why would you disregard us Delco people like that? Don't group all Delco people like that. Tuck asking suspicious. Yeah. If you don't get it before it dries yeah, dude, let me tell you something. Just think about it on stucco, though, and why my dad was probably cussing and screaming. Did you finish Black Rabbit? Black Rabbit was phenomenal. Finished it in 2 days. It was such a great TV show, Black Rabbit. Black Rabbit down. The Beast in Me down. Got to figure out what's the next one. Well, actually, Hard Knocks comes out tonight with the Eagles, so I'll probably be watching Hard Knocks tonight. I don't know how they're releasing it all at once or once a week or whatnot, or how many episodes, but we'll be watching that in this household tonight for sure. I will give my episode 1 Hard Knocks recap tomorrow for sure. The fact that the Eagles are 8-4 in first place in the division and people are egging houses shows the negativity and miserable nature of this fan base. Been trying to say spread positivity. Right, and I get it. And I think this is more than, okay? I think this is more than just the fan base and spread positivity and negativity because you're making it seem like this is the norm. It's not. This is the norm across the country. Every city has a small percentage of idiots in them. Every fan base has a small percentage of idiots. But for some reason, our small percentage of idiots get a huge amount of attention because of things we did 50, 60 years ago. And it's as a guy that traveled for work, that's been to 50 different countries, I've always been pushing to make the narrative around Philly better because we are better. And yes, I would want whoever did it to face the fullest potential punishment for what they did, and they'll find them. What is Beast in Me? Beast in Me is a TV show on Netflix, a short little 8-episode miniseries. Sorry, Matthew Reese and Claire Danes, phenomenal show. Why are we not watching Hard Knocks? I haven't watched Hard Knocks in ages, but the Eagles are going to be on it, so of course I'm going to watch it. Why not? Got to see. Remember, all the drama that we think that's going on, all the drama that we feel that's happening with our Eagles, the identity crisis, it's all been getting recorded. And let me remind you, I don't know how the production of these shows work, but not too long ago, Hard Knocks with the New York Giants aired some really personal information about how the Giants let go Saquon Barkley. So if there's any drama behind the scenes, we're going to find out about it. We're going to see it. Don't we want to know what's going on with the Kevin Patullo situation? Let me tell you something. Nick Sirianni spoke yesterday for about 15, 20 minutes. By the way, he was about 20 minutes late for his press conference, too, just so you know. So it didn't start on time, so maybe there was something going on behind the scenes. Nick Sirianni is a very abstract person. He doesn't really give you much. He doesn't really say much in his pressers. But what he does do is say the same things in different ways. And big word salads. But you hear him say certain things over and over again. And he was asked the second question of his press conference yesterday. I believe it was by Reuben Frank. He was asked, is Kevin Patullo going to continue to call plays? And he answered, believes the scenario different this year. He never says Kevin Patullo's name, and he does not say, no, I am not making the change of play caller. He says, yeah, we're going to evaluate some things. And then the next person, Tim McManus, followed up and said, are you keeping him or not? You didn't answer the question. And he said, yeah. He just went, yeah. Last week, he said, yes, I am keeping him. Like, very definitive, firm answer. This week, it was like yeah. So I really think that there is a scenario where the Eagles are making a change of play caller or making some form of change on the offensive system. And somebody's taking a bigger role. And Nick Sirianni, being Nick Sirianni, isn't telling us because Nick Sirianni thinks of competitive advantages and things like that way more than anybody else. So I really think there's a chance, not for sure, a chance from listening to Nick Sirianni twice yesterday talk about this, that maybe a change was made and we're just not going to find out about it. This is not the fan base. This is a bunch of idiots that do idiotic things because they think it's funny. It makes no sense. Bet you they don't even know who Kevin Patullo is. They just heard that they needed to do this. Where there's smoke, there's fire, but this fan base is overly negative. It's not that's totally wrong. And I hate that you think that, Rick. I really do. I think you're so off base that we're negative as a fan base as a whole. Big difference between informed disposition and actioned ignorance. Sirianni still says it's not on Patullo. He doesn't, but he does. I think there's a definite different tune. A different tune yesterday, a different tone yesterday to what Sirianni said and how he said it. I'm a big believer in reading between the leaves and looking at body language and choices of words. Big difference yesterday. Thought Super Bowl wins would have changed the negativity. There's a lot of positivity in the city, Rick. You just look in the wrong places. Good morning, Elephant in the Room. How you doing today? I do. I mean, I create a lot of content. It's good to listen to the press conferences because I like to form, K1, my own opinion and not the opinions of the beat reporters. Not that I'm saying anything negative about the beat reporters, because let me be honest. Yesterday, they didn't get a lot of questions in yesterday. But they asked some solid questions yesterday. They got very abstract answers. Sometimes you can learn from those answers if you watch enough of them. And certain words that Sirianni normally uses, he didn't use. Certain phrases he uses, he didn't use. So there was a difference yesterday. I think it made it worse, actually. He's a bum. It's idiots chasing a high from a big win. We all know that it's a no-win situation. After the Eagles win in Tampa, we were 4-0, averaging 27. It's AJ started negativity. Look, AJ Brown is definitely a problem. And Rick, and I'm sure you've seen it. Seth Joyner, there's a clip floating around social media of Seth Joyner. I don't know if it was on his show or an appearance he did on another show. Seth Joyner called out AJ Brown. It was just Sunday or it was Monday, talking about his selfish diva attitude and why he can't be happy for the team's success. And that right now is what's winning the poll question of the day. The biggest problem. I saw on Reddit someone compared Patullo to a terrorist. That person is an idiot. Seriously, like what the fuck's wrong with people? Reading between the leaves. Look, I do it. Rode that negativity all the way to the Super Bowl. Yeah, keep the great work up. I see the negative aspect of the fan base, but I also see the other end of that, which was fans putting Jalen Hurts into the Hall of Fame before he even threw a pass. Made it hard to like him. I don't know. I think Jalen Hurts had to earn it. Jalen Hurts has the Super Bowl MVP, and he's still got to earn it, which is ludicrous. I spent literally so much time yesterday trying to shut up the Tanner McKee people. The fact that people want to bench Jalen Hurts for Tanner McKee at 8-4, it's ludicrous. It's insanity. It sucks. So I am on the sports pulse as much as you are, trust me, but I know what I see. And you can stomp your feet and say it's not a negative fan base, but it's a very negative fan base. Sorry, but it is. I disagree firmly with you. I just 100%. Because, look, it's not. There's more positivity in this fan base than anywhere. If you look for positivity, you'll find it. If you look for negativity, just like you say, if you put negativity out there, negative returns. If you only look for negativity, that's all you're going to see. I look for the positive, and I see the positive, and I interact with only the positive, unless the negative find me. Phil the Siri whisper. I don't think it's that far. Are the Hurts at the time? Hurts was just a second-round pick. Yeah, I don't think anybody thought Jalen Hurts was going to be the starter immediately. Anybody defending the negativity like it doesn't exist are the most negative. Gotcha. Cool. I have to agree with Rick on this one. I don't. You can. I don't have to. Look, what was done to Kevin Patullo's house is atrocious. What was done to his house is awful. Not necessary. Completely wrong. They should be penalized for it. And not a 15-yard personal foul. An ejection. But they do not represent the fan base. They do not represent the fan base at all. And that's frustrating as all hell. Total anticipation bias. A truly informed fan doesn't cherry pick an aspect. They look at all aspects. Good, bad, positive, negative. Yeah. And it's okay to be open-minded like that. I do look for positive constantly, but I know what keeps repeating itself. Well, you're just as negative as anybody else talking about Tanner McKee and giving him a shot. That's creating negativity. Good morning, AK. How you doing? Bring some positivity to the morning. I don't understand the Hurts pick using the second-round pick. Now I get it that he was a cheap backup quarterback with upside. Now I see the potential and success. I've grown to like him. Oh, I hated the pick. I believe there was a safety that we all wanted at that spot in the second round. I don't believe that safety turned into anything. I forget which safety it was, Doc. I didn't want the pick because I knew Jalen Hurts was going to be a starter in the NFL. I also knew that we had Carson Wentz, who we didn't know. We didn't know was going to become a complete dumpster fire. And I didn't want Jalen Hurts to have to sit and be a backup. I think the right word to describe this fan base is eccentric. I don't know if that's the right word either. Flyers only 3 points out of first place. Yeah, they lost last night, but they're still playing fantastic hockey right now. Passionate is a double-edged sword. Passionate, I think passionate's the better word. Passionate can come off as negative when in reality, passionate fans, real passionate fans, just live in the moment. There's a difference between living in the moment and letting those instant reactions come out and being negative. So what's the convo? I don't know what the convo. Because somehow I got into defending the Eagles fan base that we are not awful people instead of talking about the Eagles, which is what the conversation should be, on what is the identity crisis of this football team. Because that's what you keep hearing about. Okay? And no, I'm sorry, no positivity from me. You don't want to know my take. Everybody's take's warranted. I'm going to tell you if it's right or wrong, or if I agree or disagree. Positivity can also be passionate. Absolutely. And that's exactly the same thing. Being passionate means you react in the moment because you wear those emotions on your sleeve. Doesn't mean you're positive or negative. It's passion. Okay? Now, the 1% of the fan base that takes it too far finds out where a coach lives and eggs their house. They're assholes. They're not negative. They're just straight up assholes. Who wants to take a bet that these jerk-offs are all politically connected somehow? This sounds like people have never had to deal with consequences. You know what? I would take a bet that they're not even real Eagles fans. They're just a bunch of idiots that heard about Kevin Patullo. I bet you they can't even name 5 players on the Eagles. Bet you they've never watched a complete Eagles game start to finish. They just thought it was a cool thing to do. Absolutely, the Eagles are in first place. 100%. And you want to focus on the good. Where's the notes? I had notes on here. In the last 5 games, which we have struggled, and we've gone 3-2 despite those struggles. The record of our teams that we've faced over the last 5 games, a 55 win percentage, 32, 26, and 2. And we went 3-2. The next 5 games to close out the season, our opponent's record is 22 and 33, a 40% win percentage. So we should be able to hold on to this first place. If it's not 23, if we do not have a real identity problem, if this team is as locked in as people like Jordan Mailata say, we should be able to go 4-1, 3-2 at worst, still win the division. Passionate positivity equals Sixers at 4-0. What are they now? 10-9? I don't even know what their record is now. By the way, there's no Joel Embiid tonight. Paul George is questionable. You played in overtime. You knew he was going to miss today. Eagles fans haven't killed someone in the stadium or in the parking lots. Rams, Raiders, exactly. When was the last death in an Eagles game? Probably never that we know of. But that happens in other stadiums. There was a big fight that killed somebody at a Giants-Dodgers game a few years ago. But Phillies fans threw batteries at J.D. Drew. Like 3 of them. I was at that game. The people that damaged his house are also criminals. 100%. Maybe. Phil, rank top NFC teams. ESPN said Cowboys coming. The Cowboys are playing really good football right now the last couple of weeks, and the Eagles are not. I'll still take the Eagles over the Cowboys. Right now, you gotta say Bears are 1, just like the standings. Bears 1, even though they lost. Rams 2, Eagles 3, Packers 4, Cowboys 5. Panthers 6. It's about where I'm at right now. Seahawks 7. I get fans being vocally upset, but you don't scar families over a BS game. Yeah, exactly. His wife and kids live there. I don't know how many kids, but I know he's got some. I love Hurts, but I've also always known he came with limitations. Unfortunately, it took KP for me to understand and see them. KP has been awful, but it's also let me see my limitations on my players. Every quarterback has limitations. Every athlete has limitations. Can they win? And if they can win, you build a team around your best players. Trying to do things with your best player in Jalen Hurts that he's not capable of doing, that's on Kevin Patullo. I don't think it's a bad take or bad opinion. I know what you're saying. You're saying Jalen Hurts is holding Kevin Patullo back to an extent. That's on Kevin Patullo for not adjusting. Round pegs, square holes. Get to the real shit. Jordan Davis is getting stood up again. He has never played this many snaps. Yeah, look, he played a lot of snaps last week. He had a lot of tackles this past week on Black Friday. But the few weeks before that, his snap count had gone back down. I want to say he was around 48% the previous 2 or 3 games because I do look at it every day after a game. This past week was the first time he had played over 55% of snaps since the 2nd or 3rd week of the season. But Jordan Davis is what he is. Can't play that much. It's not really a game anymore now that people can legally bet on the games. It's true. Just finished Cassell's Inside the Birds breakdown. But this wasn't a mob thing. This is idiots that need to found and prosecute the full. Absolutely. This team is not 23. They ultra talented Hurts season. I'm sorry. It's not 23. I don't understand the Hurts season at the end there. But look, Jordan Mailata said it yesterday. This is not 23. This is almost like a bad comment from him on that 23 season. Because he's like, the coaching technique is there this year. It wasn't in 23. What does that say about your coaches in 23? Some of those coaches are still on this team. Kevin Patullo, Jeff Stoutland, Nick Sirianni. That the coaching was bad in 23. What does that say? I hope you're right. Yes. The Birds got by the misdirection game, nuances in the Bears' play calling. Well, there should be better nuances in the play calling for the Eagles, but it does go to show that Ben Johnson is a hell of an young offensive mind and is calling a great offensive game plan around the strengths of his team. I understand all quarterbacks have limitations, but his limitations are also what make him a second-round pick. We were able to mask those limitations until KP. That's all I'm saying. Look, there's nothing wrong with being a second-round quarterback. That doesn't mean you're not a good quarterback or whatnot. That whole draft class was pretty iffy at times. There were some good ones, too. But I don't think holding that he was a second-round pick against him, I think there was more to it than just his limitations that you want to describe. Steichen, Moore, and Johnson adjusted quickly to call plays to the team they have and not the team they wanted. And yet Kevin Patullo has not. And there's a chance in my mind he is not calling the plays on Monday night. I'm really going to dig into the fact that there might come a point by Monday that we learn something that we didn't know yet. Or maybe after the game, we learn about it. I would not be shocked if there's some adjustments being made in the NovaCare complex right now. Good morning, Nina. How you doing today? Hope you are well. Not down the kid one bit. I know who Hurts is, and I like what we got, but I also call it as I see it. Look, I get it. Jalen Hurts has not been good this year by his standards at all. We're still 8-4. Jalen Hurts has not performed at the level he did last year, but we're still 8-4. And we know when the going gets tough, the one thing we are 100% sure on is that when the going gets tough and the lights get the brightest, Jalen Hurts comes up in those big moments. You're correct in a correct world, but unfortunately we live in a society where people need to blame others for their mistakes. That is an accurate world statement right there. Hurts should have a say. He argued with KP. If his way don't work, we do indifferent. Rookie coordinator. Like, they definitely needed not a rookie coordinator. We know that as well, Travis, for sure. It wasn't much different than Sean McVay and even the old counter trays that used to burn even Buddy Ryan's defense. The criminal lost money, so he took it out of the football coach, which is ridiculous. Maybe. I don't want to know what Putman be like. Facts are that gambling is destroying sports. Look, we could go down that rabbit hole again, but you're right, it is. The integrity of it is being ruined. Plain and simple. And, you know, it's crazy. It's always been a problem. Mafioso types have always been involved. Mafioso types have always caused problems with sports. Gambling has always been happening since the advent of sports. But it being so much more in our faces now and so much more easily accessible is making there be problems, for sure. Right now should be his seat. Yeah, Pumpman, I'm shocked that Pumpman's quiet. He's a big listener on the Dan Sillyman show, so I catch him chatting in there. I like to peek in to see if any of the Core 12s on other shows causing problems or being good or being a double, double agent. But I see him in there all the time and get hyped up by Dan Silio. Jalen Carter may have had his worst game as an Eagle. I doubt that will happen again unless he is fighting something we don't know. Now, Jalen Carter just hasn't been that great this year, period. He's been pushed back versus him pushing forward far too much. And it might be, he had a shoulder injury in training camp. He was slow to start the year. He was banged up. He missed a game earlier, right? I don't know. He might be hurt this year. He might be playing hurt. Pump is too busy blowing up JoJo. I'm also pissed at Nick because he doesn't call plays, so I expect way better locker room control and keeping the outside noise out. And he seems he can't even do that anymore. And that's a huge thing right there, AK, for sure. My faith and confidence in Nick Sirianni is probably wavering more than Jalen Hurts. Because, look, I'm going to give Nick Sirianni till the end of the season to right the ship, I should say. But if this season ends with disappointment, and it's because of a locker room fracture, man, that's twice that Nick Sirianni let it happen then. The reason I think this is mostly on Sirianni and Patullo is because Steichen, Moore, and Johnson were able to adjust. They were able to adjust. Big Sills banned me. I am shocked I have not been blocked by him on Twitter. I have said so many mean and negative things about him and a few others, and I just can't believe that these names just won't block me. Maybe I haven't gone deep and dark enough. What's up, Jess? How you doing? What is your opinion on Seth Joyner take saying that now that we are targeting AJ and getting him his catches, we are a worse offense? He's not wrong. This offense is meant to be an offense that everyone sacrifices individual statistics for the greater good. And I said at the very beginning, I brought it up. He called A.J. Brown a diva, selfish player. How he complained when we were winning, but he gets his stats and he doesn't seem to be complaining. Seth Joyner either gets his opinions spot on accurate or spot on a mile off. This one he was right on. Look, we're a better team with A.J. Brown than not without A.J. Brown. On paper. He is arguably one of the best wide receivers in football. But no shock that the A.J. Brown drama has been smack dab in arguably one of our worst stretches in the last couple of years. And there was A.J. Brown drama in 23 as well. And we see how that season played out. Every elite wide receiver is a diva. Every elite wide receiver wants the ball. But your actions speak. He chose to be here. He chose to sign extensions here. He had to know what was going to go on here. The writing was on the wall that this is a run-first team. It's a spread-the-ball-around team. He is being selfish. 100%. The whole D-line is fatigued and injured due to being on the field so long. Get off the field sooner then. Someone like Ty Robinson, make a statement, and be forced to put yourself on the field. But you can't. All I'm saying, man, is I've seen a lot of Eagles teams in my day. Eagles football, this is a dysfunctional team inside and out, week 13, and no identity. You should push the panic button. I hate the fact that we don't have an identity. We are about to end. Well, no, week 14 starts today, not week 13, right? We're 12. We had our bye 13. Yeah, this is week 14. And we're still trying to figure out what the identity of this team is. That's on the coaches. 100%. Easy way to get Pandas to bring up any of his missteps, any of his racist comments as well. Yeah. I accuse Sills of paying for views. I don't know if this is still true, because Jacob Media has basically become irrelevant. It's just basically Big Sills and Xander, which I used to like Xander, but he's become just another mini Big Sills. Back when they had regular programming and big name shows and stuff like that, Big Sills had to pay to be on there. Pay to put his show on there. Now he might not have to pay, because without him that channel would disappear, but whatever. That channel was supposed to be good. It's totally not. Philly's going to have a great offseason and contend for a World Series again. Then keep pushing forward till they get it. That's just too much positivity for me right there. Look, there's a lot of rumors floating around with the Phillies. Let's see how it plays out. There's a rumor that JT might be signed. The winter meetings start on Sunday, I think it is. They're really close. We're really close to start, and the Phillies have been very active in the winter meetings, so we'll see. We'll see what this team is about. Calling BS, his post-game was the same. No one else was delivering on Friday. What? AJ missed the second game against the Giants, and we put up almost 40 points, and the offense flowed so well. I mean, I can't argue against that. I can't. I had AJ on my fantasy last year. I learned my lesson good. If the offense is what you say it is, why are there reports that Jalen doesn't want to be a running quarterback? I thought all he cared about was wins. Look, and I think that's something that has to be addressed, Nina, and that's something that has to be asked. And Nick Sirianni was asked about that. And he brought up, where was this? Talked about not wanting him to let his body break down, that they're trying to conserve his body, that the running affects him long-term health-wise. Maybe that's Nick Sirianni making an excuse. I don't know. We know Jalen Hurts isn't going to say anything publicly, positively or negatively. I'm not sure about this Jalen Hurts not wanting to run, telling the coaches he doesn't want to run. I don't know about this. I don't know the why. That's what makes him a success. Why would he want to take away the one thing he does that sets up everything else that he does? Is he concerned about getting hurt? Is he trying to protect himself? Is there some divaness in him that's formed that he keeps quiet, like A.J. Brown? Hey, I got my title. I got my MVP trophy. I gotta protect myself long term. I don't know the answer. But I definitely think it's something that can be asked and discussed. The reason is, despite A.J. Brown, is because he epitomizes negativity and selfishness. Carter's playing like ash. Jordan Davis is playing great. Sidney Brown sucks. Everyone's just wrong, man. And it's way too late in the season to correct it. I'm just calling the season a wash. Look, if we can go to a Super Bowl every other year, and every other year we suck, I'll take that. By that theory, you should fit right in here. What? AJ, underlying reason for the 23 collapse and trying to do it again. Big Sills, Dan Silio, he does a show on Jacob Media now. He's worked all over the country in major markets on the radio. He's also a known racist and made some very racist comments publicly. How he gets paid still, I have no idea. There was a lot of other things in his life. He is not a good person. Yet people jump all over him for his clickbait content. Dan Silio is a wannabe Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, just with a smaller audience. They're all terrible, man. And that's why I'm pissed. That's why, for me, this season's over. We could try and hold on, but at this point, we're just going down with them. Look, we might go down. We might go down. Yeah, dude. When they got like 50, 60,000 subscribers, they should be getting 5 to 10,000 views a show at that case, right? I know what the goal is, okay? You got X amount of subscribers. If they're all organic growth, like this show, we start today at 897. We had almost 300 views yesterday. Think of that percentage of viewers versus subscribers. I think the goal is like 10%. They don't even get 10%. That means they paid for their subscribers. Got a JT sign first and foremost. Honestly, I'm at the point, Rick, where I think the signing of JT is arguably the most important thing that has to get done first. I would love Schwarber back at the right price, but if he walks, you can fill that. If you lose Ranger, you can figure that out. What do you do if you don't sign JT? Getting him signed at the right price and the right dollar sign, uber important, maybe the most important thing. I thought positive people accept the people for who they are. I guess so. It's a good one. So I guess with this channel, if you disagree with the majority or don't agree, if you are a critical thinker, you're negative. Look, everybody's opinion matters, Nina. Everyone's opinion. Some of the people in the chat get a little passionate about their opinions, but all that matters is if I think your opinion matters. The chat, who cares about the chat? Everybody's opinion matters on this show. We could disagree, but I will shut down anybody that's over the top negative in the chat for sure. Or not negative, rude in the chat. I'm honestly not that upset about the Eagles. They're still in a good spot, and it's really, really freaking hard to get back-to-back. It really is. Hard to go back-to-back for sure. Quite possibly the simple answer is the most likely. He doesn't want to get his ass kicked excessively. Jalen Hurts, it's possible. It is. Whatever. See, here you go. You see, instead of just discussing, you're being negative by throwing insults people's way. And you're a big part of the problem right there. Hurts taking away his run is a no-go. And I don't understand why he's doing it. That's the other thing. I don't care how much I love A.J. Brown. I hope Howie trades him. A year and a half of this shit. I'm done with the drama. Smitty can be number one. I'll find another wide receiver. You're not going to find another A.J. Brown. But this offense can be fine without A.J. Brown. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? You're not going to find another A.J. Brown level talent that easily. But doesn't mean that the offense will be worse off big picture. That's an opinion. I cannot stand Sills. I mean, yeah, it's Susan. It's not just his takes. It's just what he stands for as a person. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a terrible person. There's a reason he was kicked off the air. Not just one market. He's been fired from multiple major media markets. Maybe stop talking about the person, it goes away. Yeah, but people still love him. Eagles going to win the division. Eagles going to go to the playoffs. Eagles going to win in the playoffs. Got to believe. I'm hoping. I'm holding on. I don't blame one individual person. It takes a collective unit to suck. They're all terrible. I'm not pointing fingers. And I think that's the correct answer. There should be no pointing fingers. The entire organization has failed for a few weeks now in a row. If I find out Hurts refuses to run, team make it keep stick. Look, I don't know if he's refusing to run per se, but there is something to this story, and I need more information on it. You know, is it him? Is it the team? Is it a collective thing to protect him? Has he been more hurt in the past and we didn't know about it, and they're trying to save that? Or is he just being a diva and says, I don't want to do it anymore? If there was even a possibility of Patullo returning to a lesser role, that incident finalized his decision to leave. He wants to leave now. Interesting. Maybe you're onto something there. JT, most important. Catcher market is barren after JT. Again, I mentioned this. I never had a chance to look it up. But somebody on a major website wrote an article about other potential trade targets at catcher, and I didn't take notes, and I should have taken notes on it. There are other options, but it would involve trades. But yeah, you got to get JT. The problem is, how far are you willing to stretch to get him? I think 2 years is perfect for him. Will the Phillies go to 3? Will JT demand 4? There might be another team out there that will go to 4. Will the Phillies do it? I don't know. I appreciate that, Tatsuya. I try to be fair. I can't control everybody in the chat. I try, but I can't. Who wants to sign Kyle Schwarber other than Phillies? Cincinnati, obviously, his hometown team, and he said he would like to play there. I think Boston would be in on him. If the Mets lose Pete Alonso, they may be in on him. Chicago. The Dodgers want to sign everybody always. There are other teams. Pittsburgh has shown interest in him, kind of the way we brought in Jim Thome back in the day. There is a market for Kyle Schwarber. We all have them, and they're all and opinions are like assholes. We all have them, and they all smell like shit. I am not confident the Eagles can even make the playoffs. The Eagles are making the playoffs. There's no doubt that the Eagles are making the playoffs. Yep, he's right. Everyone's opinion matters, even if we don't agree. Exactly. I thought your John Gruden idea was it last week? I thought that was a terrible idea, Susan. But I still discussed it with you. Everyone's opinion matters, and no one's got to pay for their opinions here. Sills doesn't treat his chat this way. No, he does not. Rick always go too far. He does sometimes take it too far. I watched Dancilio once, but the MF was so sweaty it made me uncomfortable. Was he sweaty? Oh, man. There was a point in time that I wanted to be a part of Jacob Media. Now I would never stoop that low, even if there was money involved, because they employ a person like Dancilio, and because Xander is turning a leaf into being a mini Dancilio instead of what he was originally doing, which was just being another version of me. Send AJ to New Orleans for a lobby. That'll happen. You aren't going to find another AJ Brown. How long did it take us? Absolutely, you're not going to find another AJ Brown. But can you win with another wide receiver in this system? I want to write this down because I think this is a good one. What can you do? I got to write this one down. Because I think there is something to this conversation. Reminds me of Brendan Fraser and Bedazzled when he wished to be a famous basketball player. Yeah. Now that is an obscure movie reference. Yeah, it really is. It's actually a great movie. What's her name? The chick in the movie, Hurley. She's hot as can be. She played the devil, right, in that movie. Bedazzled, man. It wasn't that long ago. Hurts ran all over, 300 yards. Yeah, it's not. It was almost 500 yards like Bryce Young had. Yeah, gotcha. Would you trade Jalen Hurts and 3 first-round picks for Joe Burrow? No, I would not. Why would I trade 3 first-round picks and Jalen Hurts for an oft-injured Joe Burrow that can't stay on the field? Collective issues, solid locker room, know how to handle things in-house. Yeah. And it's funny, it annoys me how Jordan Mailata keeps saying we're together. Jordan Mailata says we're on the same page, but it doesn't say what he says doesn't match the actions we see. Cincy and Red Sox for sure are in on Schwarber. Absolutely. Your opinion does matter until you thought, you better hit the like button. You better subscribe. You better share. It's the only reason your opinions matter. Since when is winning the Super Bowl MVP a lifelong achievement? I have never seen this much praise be given to Hurts winning Super Bowl MVP. I don't remember folks getting the over-the-top resume filler. Okay, so and I'm not trying to criticize it. You're trying. If I'm understanding this right, you're saying that winning the Super Bowl MVP, he does not deserve. I'm assuming you're thinking the blind faith that you think we're giving him. I've given him plenty of criticism, Nina, over the last couple of weeks because he has not played to a Super Bowl MVP level. I'm also looking at the Super Bowl MVP and how he played in 2 Super Bowls, and I'm thinking about how he's played over the last 4.5 years when I'm saying I'm not giving up on Jalen Hurts, that Jalen Hurts isn't a problem that needs to be fixed. Jalen Hurts, he needs to get on the same page with the rest of his offense and his coaches, sure. The Super Bowl MVP is just one piece of the puzzle on why I show my support to Jalen Hurts. He sweats. He sweats is probably one of the greatest things. My shit don't stink. You should lower your processed foods intake. Yeah. Smitty Dotson combo, maybe. Dotson's a free agent at the end of the year. So you'd have to re-sign him, and you'd have to convince him to stay. Is it possible for the Birds to miss the playoffs as much as it is to go 12-5? Oh, it is, because that is how much parity there is. Yeah, I mean, to miss the playoffs, they're at 8-4. They got 5 games. Does 10-7 get you into the playoffs? Maybe. 9-8 definitely does not. So to guarantee that they're not going to make the playoffs, they got to go 1-4. And there's no way they're going 1-4. Like, that would be an epic disaster. That would cost Nick Sirianni his job. I've always wondered why Sills covered Philadelphia. He's so negative. I don't even think he's from Philly originally. He just worked here at some point. The only guy I know who didn't sweat is no longer a prince. What? I don't get that one. Elizabeth Hurley, that's her name, yes. Smoke show. We don't need to find another A.J. Brown. Everyone needs to get that shit out of their head. There's plenty of other wide receivers in the NFL who are not A.J. Brown who are better right now. No, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to find another A.J. Brown level to add to Devontae Smith. But you can win with another. You don't need a 1A and a 1B. You need a 1 and a 2 and a 3. So you can replace A.J. Brown with 2 wide receivers and have money left over and get draft picks for A.J. Brown and still win, probably. Brendan Fraser, man. I used to get, when I was younger, before the beard, and when I had longer hair, I used to get called Brendan Fraser a bunch. There were 2 celebrities back in the late 90s, early 2000s that I used to get referenced to. I'll give you one, Brendan Fraser. Can you guess the other one? Okay, you got to remember, without a beard. So you got to imagine me without the beard, and a little bit more hair, and definitely not this awful receding hairline. But Brendan Fraser and one other person I used to get referenced as. Yes, it was a remake. Yes, people don't remember that. That Drake May is the best quarterback in football right now. He's playing great football, and the Patriots are a scary team. So you don't believe what Mailata tells the media, but you still care what a coach tells the media. Oh, I didn't say I don't believe what he says. I say what he said doesn't seem to make sense. Elizabeth Hurley broke the beauty scale. No number is high enough to describe. Yeah, absolutely. She was. She's aging good too. Yeah. So you all are being negative to this Silo person. I guess that's okay because you all agree. I mean, look, if you like Dan Sileo, cool. He's just a racist piece of shit. And it's not just me making it up. It's a known thing. He's been fired from major media markets for racial insensitive remarks. It's pretty obvious. Bedazzled, it's right there. Just Google it. Bedazzled may also be worse than Little Nicky. Do never besmirch the name Little Nicky. Phenomenally underrated comedy movie that most people just don't get. Little Nicky, do not knock it. Are you going live when Kyle Schwarber or Ranger Suarez signed? Absolutely. Anytime there's breaking news with the Phillies this offseason, since I'm unemployed, I will go live every time there's breaking news. It's not a mob mentality. Sills gave himself his own image. None of us did it. Yeah, exactly. If it's because you don't know, Nina, who Big Sills is, I understand. But if you know who he is and you're supporting him, cool. That's your right. Good chance Eagles go 3-2 in their last 5, 11-6, which wins the division. 11-6 definitely, Rick, wins the division. Definitely, 100%. 10-7 even might win the division, honestly, Rick. Good morning, Warfighter. How you doing? Little Nicky lives in legendary territory for me because of the Ozzy scene, which to me is one of the best scenes. Look, it's just a great movie. It really, really is. People underrate that movie all the time. One of Adam Sandler's worst? No. One of Adam Sandler's best. Okay? I laugh every time I see that. It is such a good movie, and nobody will admit that. I don't care who or why. If you throw a deep ball right in a perfect 1 in a million spot like Drake May did several times, I'm going to respect you. Yeah. Sills is like a Staten Island. Why are we even still talking about Sills? Get off the Sills. All right? We absolutely could go 1-4, but we could go 5-0 as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not talking about Big Sills anymore. I think Olave and Kool-Aid McKinstry for AJ is solid. See, what I'm doing is I'm trading Tanner McKee to the Saints. Maybe you can package Tanner McKee, AJ Brown for Olave, Kool-Aid, and 2 first-round picks. Do it. Look like Prince Williams in the 90s. That is not who I was referred to, but I'll take it. How drunk were the people when they thought you looked? I looked a lot different when I was younger. I was actually looking at old wedding photos last night with my wife, and I looked so much different back in the day. Definitely not those names. I'm being serious on that one. Actually, there's a scenario where we don't make the playoffs, and that is where we lose out the rest of the way, and Dallas wins out the rest of the way. By record, we wouldn't make it. So it's possible. I just don't see it happening. Yeah, my hairline isn't receding. It's in retreat. Dude, it surrendered, K1. It's not retreating. It threw up the white flag. It did. Drake May is seriously developed. Drake May is turned into a damn good person. Not even going. Did not get any William Dafoe's. Racial and sexist remarks, not just... Yeah, I forgot about the sexist part, too. We've seen them turn around. We've seen them collapse. We've seen all kinds of scenarios. And that's why we don't know. And, guys, it's almost the top of the hour. There's 18, 19 people watching. Hit the like button if you haven't. There's only 14 likes on the video, but 18 votes. Subscribe if you have not. Share this out, guys. It's Trending the AM on the STT Sports Network. I'm always trying to get through Little Nicky. It's hard. Hey, thanks, Nina. I don't know. Understand where it went wrong for you here today. I don't think anyone's been negative or mean towards you. I really don't. If I missed a comment that was inappropriate, I apologize. I guess I can't win them all. We're not talking Dan Sileo anymore. Dreaming of Eagles Pats Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, you got to think the Patriots are the front runners in the AFC at this point. You can't throw away Buffalo and Mahomes if he can make it back to the playoffs. And Allen and Burrows Burrow's not going to make it, but maybe Lamar Jackson. Obviously, you got some great quarterbacks there as well. But I would say the Pats are the favorite at this point. Phil is No Country for Old Men, a good movie. Never seen it. Yes. No spoilers. Yeah. I don't think there's anything bad in the show today. Reminds me of the good old days with Archie Bunker and all the family. I was watching something about him in that show. I never really, obviously, I'm a little younger for that when it was on in the day. And it just, that show reminds me of how different this world is from back then. Really does. Poor Peterman, no one wants him anymore. But what really sucks, the Cowboys strength in the middle of their defense. That is where we are weak. We are fortunate we don't have to play them again. Rest of NFC and Hunt would need to collapse. Yeah. It is included. The beard, I would say Duck Dynasty. No. Just because I got a beard doesn't mean I'm the Duck Dynasty. Lucky you look fine. Shaved head, Phil. Yeah, look. It's not shaved. It's just there's not much hair back there anymore. But they gave up entirely too much to do so. I've been putting this out there because, not Pierce Bronson. Stop. I was being serious with this one to see if you guys really could guess it. People probably say Phil looks like John Travolta. No one ever said that. Can't win them all. No, can't win them all. I guess. 3 away from 900. Come on. We gained 7 yesterday. Can we gain 7 today? I mean, this 1,000 is like the biggest grind in the world. And I could have gained a new one in Nina, but I guess not. Not sure how I went wrong on that one. Phil, as the show gets bigger, there will be larger number of people who don't get it. That is true. There will be people that don't like my easygoing way of doing things here. The Patriots aren't beating Buffalo and especially Chiefs in the playoffs. Playoff experience is too important. Patriots aren't beating Buffalo. That is something that I think about with Drake May. And knock my book over here. Also, I look at the fact that who have the Patriots beaten, really? Realistically, I think they've beaten the Bills once, and that's it. They've had a very weak schedule for the most part, if my memory serves me. She's not wrong about the glass house tendencies we can have. Who, the Nina girl? Look, I don't understand where Nina went wrong today or where I went wrong with Nina. I think we're having a very open-minded conversation for the most part. I knew tons of guys like Archie Bunkie growing up, and something happened in the 90s when it kind of flipped. Yeah. No, I'm definitely not pretty enough to be Richard Gere. Chiefs might not make my. I don't know if they're going to make it. I don't know if they are. But they're trying. Broncos are up and down, but the Broncos are going to win that division probably. Are they going to be one and done in the playoffs, though? Maybe. Broncos defense is very good. Yeah. It is what it is. I don't hold any grudges. Nina's welcome here anytime. Nina's welcome to talk here anytime. Don't bother me one way or another. I want this to be a fun, safe place for everyone. No negativity, no positivity, just conversations. It was you and Little Nicky. That was what it was. It must have been the Little Nicky comment. Look, no disparaging Little Nicky. Little Nicky is a great misunderstood comedy. Without a doubt, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm looking at my notes here, Eagles-wise, okay? Looking at my notes. And we're looking at the poll question. Which of these four options is the biggest problem? Hurts, Saquon, AJ, Patullo. Patullo is winning the poll at 45%. AJ Brown second, 27%. Saquon Barkley, 18%. Jalen Hurts at 9%. The hate for Jalen isn't there. Oh, my goodness. We got a shameless plug with Chet in the chat. A special Tuesday, 6 p.m. Philly Press Box Radio with former Eagles great wide receiver. You should have said great, Chet. Freddie Barnett. Fred Barnett's great. A legend from my childhood. Loved him as a kid growing up watching the Eagles. It's those polarizing cinema takes that are holding this channel back. That and the Ridley Scott takes. That's what it is. No, Little Nicky slander here because we're from the school of hard knocks and we're ready to rock. You don't like pumpkin pie or pork roll, but you love Little Nicky. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I've had some takes people disagree with for a little bit there. It's not Fred X, that's Freddie Mitchell. Fred Barnett is not Fred X. Yeah. I think you got the wrong nicknames on that one. So does anyone know what the fans did that made Sirianni scream at them on Friday? Do we know it was the fans that he was screaming at? Because I asked when we were live, was it a player, a coach, or the fans? And no one ever knew. Yeah, it was Arkansas Fred. Arkansas Fred, not Fred X. Big difference. Big difference in success. Freddie Mitchell had nothing on Fred Barnett in the NFL. Freddie Mitchell wishes he had Fred Barnett's career. Takes all types, no matter how weird. Look, I'm a weirdo. Never said I wasn't. Never said I wasn't. On our show last week, Big Al said his favorite Thanksgiving food was pumpkin pie. Well, Big Al's an idiot. Oh, man. He actually had two moments, Fred X. He had the game against Green Bay in the playoffs, and he had the big catch against Dallas in that. I forget which year the Dallas one was. It what year that was? Obviously, he had the 4th and 26, and then he had the McNabb scramble and bombed the Fred X, where he went, And I still say that Fred Barnett was short of the first down on 4th and 26, just so you know. I think Sirianni was yelling at the fans because they were calling for Nepo, but it might be. And if that was the case, good for him. I mean, but also he's right in his mind to do that, or the fans were right to do that. It came out that it was fans that he was, okay, I'm going to have to write it down and Google that. I wasn't sure about that, and I didn't read anything. Little Nicky is the movie you take that girl, which quite possibly may make your What? What are we saying here? He hate me, yeah. The people's champ, Freddie Mitchell, that's right. Mitchie Poo, bring some order to this show and to the chat. All right? Mitchie Poo strikes me as a guy that thinks Little Nicky's a good movie as well. Mitchie Poo strikes me as a guy that's on the same page as me. Okay? I don't know where Nooms is so straight and narrow and so analytical, okay? And then he drops lines like that. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? She did get out just in time. She did. Oh, my God. What is happening? For as great of a show as we had yesterday, what is happening to today's show? What is happening to the comments today? I want to talk identity. Oh, people are bashing it because I say it's a good and an underrated movie. A misunderstood Adam Sandler flick. A laugh fest for me. People say it's terrible. People questioning my taste in comedy movies because I like Little Nicky. You know what? Whatever. The curse of Little Nicky. I don't know what the curse of today's show was. I think this show is being run as poorly as Kevin Patullo's offense at this point. Look, the offense is bad. We can get to it, okay? It is classic stupid comedy. Exactly. I want to give some Eagles offensive stats, okay? We already went over their win-loss record and the future win-loss record of their opponents. The last time the offense was as bad as it is right now, 22nd points per game, 24th yards per game, was 2020 when they were 26th and 24th. Doug Peterson get fired that year. We went over 78 minutes in between touchdowns between the last game and Black Friday. Pretty bad. I've stuck up for Tyler Steen having a pretty solid year. And while Landon Dickerson in 9th in the NFL in offensive lineman on pressures given up, 4th in pressures given up in the NFL, Tyler Steen has given up 27 quarterback pressures this year. Really interesting. Some random notes I wrote down there. And since the bye week, the Eagles have only scored 15.5 points per game. There's only 6 teams worse. 4 of them are starting a rookie quarterback. The Cleveland Browns, who are actually on their second rookie. The Saints, the Titans, the Vikings. The Vikings quarterback was an undrafted rookie. The Raiders just fired their offense coordinator, and the Steelers, they suck because Aaron Rodgers is a D-bag. That's how bad the Eagles offense is. You got rookies, Aaron Rodgers, and Jalen Hurts. Can I get? Yeah, you definitely can. Little Nicky's a cookie cutter Adam Sandler movie. They're all the same. Not at all. Not at all. They already did the analysis on the 4th and 24 FedEx was 140-yard past the line marker, but the spot was something like 1.7. It was a bad spot. I know it. Phil isn't saying it's one of his best movies of all time. He's saying it's an underrated. Phil is wrong because Little Nicky is an all-time great. Yeah, maybe I'm not rating it high enough. Is Punch Drunk Love a good movie? Yeah, I haven't only watched it once or twice. See, and this is negativity. There is nothing good that Tanner McKee can do. Because here's what happens. You bench Jalen Hurts for Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee stinks, then you got to go back to Jalen Hurts. And that creates a rift. Tanner McKee is okay, then you got a controversy. We have no information whether he's going to be okay or good. He's played in Week 18 against second stringers. And he's played in preseason. The drama. You hate drama. You hate the A.J. Brown drama. The drama you create by benching your Super Bowl winning MVP quarterback because of a couple bad games. A couple bad games you don't want us to overreact to in a negative way. You want us to stay positive. Your answer is to bench your quarterback for Tanner McKee. That creates more drama, more negativity, more arguments than it does solutions. And we literally have zero. I know it's just a question. I'm just answering your question. There is literally nothing positive that comes out of it. And there's literally nothing that proves it would make any difference other than nothing. I must keep people on their toes. Tuck, you would love daily sprint stand-ups on my team. What? Little Nicky for quarterback. I don't get the Tanner McKee love either. Haven't seen we haven't seen anything, not enough, anything to like or dislike the guy. And then if Tanner McKee comes out and doesn't play well, you know what happens? You can't trade him for a first-round pick. Yeah, stop asking for McKee to be put in. He is trade bait. That we do need it. McKee could definitely add an unscouted short-term boost. It'd be about balancing the good with the bad. It's not like Hurts hasn't shown the ability to handle it. Losers. Oh, hi. I'm glad the biggest loser of them all is showing up, Marshawn. What's up? Love Hurts. Look, I get it. The problem is it's a question that too many people are actually way too into this, okay? You're asking a question. There's a lot of people that are campaigning for it, that want it, that think that that's the only way. Because there is still a huge contingent of Eagles fans that hate Jalen Hurts, that think Jalen Hurts sucks. If we were 4-8, give Tanner a shot. But although Jalen's stats aren't wowing us, he's contributed to a few wins. Games I don't see Tanner winning. Yeah, we know what Jalen Hurts is. A winner. With flaws. We have zero clue what Tanner McKee is. Big D, Nick E for quarterback. Yeah. You know I got nothing but love for you, Marshawn. McKee can do any worse than roll right and throw out of bounds. Yeah. Can't do any worse. Yeah, I got it. I figured what you meant. Daily meeting always brings out the funny from the pain. Yeah. Is that what it is? Look, it's not that I don't like Tanner McKee. It's not that I overly like Jalen Hurts. It's just really simple. That we know what Jalen Hurts is. We don't know what Tanner McKee is. The drama that is created by benching your quarterback. I mean, just think about all the times in history that we've benched quarterbacks and the drama it created. Just think about when we benched Wentz for Hurts. Just think about when we benched Randall Cunningham. That was the end of the Cunningham era. Every time we benched a quarterback, when we benched McNabb, there was drama. It's just a bad idea. Nothing good comes out of it. Heard the same question on Fanatic, and the host didn't freak out at the same question. Or didn't ask on Fanatic, and the host didn't freak out. Look, and I get it. And quarterback controversy drives conversation. It does. Maybe it was John Kincaid, because I know I got called out by John Kincaid for a comment in support of not benching Jalen Hurts. Too much drama comes of that. I don't even know what work is. I haven't worked in 2 weeks almost now. So McKee is trade bait. Better to leave him mysterious for that. Yeah, I mean, we don't want his trade bait to trade value to drop. Maybe McKee doesn't take an 8-yard sack at a crucial point in the game. Look, that sack was atrocious, and I called it out on the spot. I haven't called it out since then. I kind of forgot about it. But I did call it out on the spot, Marshawn. When we benched McNabb, we went 9-6-1 and made the NFC championship. It actually worked. Okay, it did work. But McNabb's time was basically done. If Jalen were struggle like he is now next year, would it be fair to want to move on? I don't know. It depends on how he's struggling, why he's struggling, how this year ends. Does he rally this year? And then have it, because next year we could very well be in the same spot with another new offensive coordinator, which is another issue. I think it was 2008 was when McNabb was benched. Absolutely was. Why are you not answering? Wouldn't it be smart to find out what we have in McKee before we trade him? Why? I mean, what if we have nothing in him and then we can't trade him? Rick, leave that mystique there. Let the McKeesters keep hyping up what we don't know exists. Quarterback convo is ridiculous. It absolutely is ridiculous. And everyone knows it. Well, not everybody knows it. But it should be. What do we get a first-round pick for Hurts in the offseason? Just a what if. Don't want to upset him. I'm not trading Jalen Hurts for one first-round pick. He's leading my team for the next 5 years. The guy just won the damn Super Bowl. And I get it. You're just asking a question. You're trying to be you're trying to phrase your questions in a way. But no. Maybe the McKeester runs for a first down. Stop. Peyton Manning struggled. They let him leave to the Broncos to get another Lombardi. Spoiler, McKee is UFO good at best. Phil, is Warfighter new around these parts? Warfighter's a good one. Warfighter's a good one. He's new, but he's good. He hangs around more than you do, Marshawn. What if McKee is the next Tom Brady? He's not. There will never be another Tom Brady. Want to call us losers. Marshawn's an Eagles fan. Marshawn's a pot star, Warfighter. He just drops in, he makes some crazy comments, and then he dips out. But he's been a longtime supporter of mine since before this channel started, when I was working on other channels. Marshawn's a real deal, okay? He just likes to stir the pot sometimes. I gave him a little explanation on who you are. How long did Dilfer stay with the Ravens? I don't know. You're not comparing Trent Dilfer to Jalen Hurts. You just mentioned the drama when we benched Carson for Hurts. It worked out. I'm not saying we should, just saying we don't know. We don't know. And I don't think anybody thought Jalen Hurts was going to turn to what he did when we benched Hurts for him. Or Wentz for him. So, yeah, I guess in theory, there are examples of it working. And yes, and I fully have admitted on this show plenty of times that I am blinded for my appreciation of Jalen Hurts. I am not hiding the fact that I am a Jalen Hurts massive supporter. That his intangibles, to me, are more important than anything else. I know it's hard to convince me negative things on Jalen Hurts. I get it. I admit my flaws is that I cannot be unbiased when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Anybody else going to admit their unbiased opinions? Or their biased opinions? I know what I am with Jalen Hurts. Has Jalen Hurts hit his ceiling? Do you believe that Hurts will win another Super Bowl here? Yes, I do believe he will win another Super Bowl. The fact that we were talking literally 3 months ago about how wide open a Super Bowl window we had, and now we're talking that Jalen Hurts might not win another one. It's crazy how 4 weeks changed the opinions of people. You will never lose your core. You're an OG core, Marshawn. Any backup quarterback could be the next Tom Brady. No backup quarterback will ever be Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the rarity. Okay? WP offseason wet dream. Hurts gets hurt. McKee pulls a falls and we win the season. Absolutely, Duck. Absolutely. He might be your boy, but pot stirrers are true losers. How's that for pot stirring? I mean, it's true. I hate it. And sometimes I got to figure out whether he's stirring the pot or serious. Okay? I've never met the guy. He lives in Toronto. Okay? He is an Eagles fan. He is a Sixers fan. Well, sometimes. But you know what? This channel is built up with an eclectic amount of opinions, an eclectic type of people. There's all different kind of people that chat in this show. And it's taken me years to do that. It's okay. Can't be any worse at what my dogs do. Play Jalen in the playoffs and McKee now. Easy solution. Brady, like McKee, was a 6th-round pick, and nobody expected anything in the league, especially behind Bledsoe. You're comparing literally the greatest quarterback to ever play football and Tanner McKee. Warfighter staying true to his name. Hey, it's good. Warfighter's new, and I love Warfighter and Warfighter's new support. If Steichen never left, I think we'd already have 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, that's the problem there. Tom Brady was never meant to be a backup. No. What's a Sixers fan these days? Hey, I watched a lot of the game the other night. Hey, you know, I make a lot of Canadian jokes on a regular basis. I got a lot of Canadian friends, like real friends. So yeah. Yes, what? Yes. Are you responding? What are you responding yes to here? I'm not even sure. At least not compare exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you said it. You've said it a lot. And I think you're completely, ridiculously insane for thinking that. Okay? And I said it back then when you said it for the first time, and I'm going to say it again. Even mentioning them in the same breath just shows you had one too many IPAs or you took one too many puffs last night. Any 6th-round quarterback pick could be the next Tom Brady. Exactly, Big Al. Exactly. Wasn't Shedeur Sanders a 6th-round pick, or was that a 5th-round pick? Sanders is going to be the next one, too. Yeah, it was. That second overtime really killed it. Really killed it. They ran out of juice at the end there. So we are not real friends. Cable Guy's an underrated classic as well, comedy. Last time I checked, Canada being pudding hurt on Phillies teams. Quas says hi. Ouch. Bring that up from 5 years ago. Hope McKee is the next Tom Brady. I bought a bunch of RPAs of Tanner's. What? Hope McKee is the next Tom Brady. I don't even know what RPAs are. McKee worked on his footwork, so he has evolving tools. Cool. Let him go evolve those tools on the Saints for their first-round pick. Go for it. Martian is wrong when he said Brady was never meant to be a backup. He was meant to be a backup. That's why he went in the 6th round. Strange shit happens when least expected. Yeah. And there's never going to be another Tom Brady. Plain and simple. Let's do a quick refresh here. We did get over 20 concurrent viewers. Not 30 like yesterday, but 20 today. Let's see where we're at on numbers today. Okay. I thought it sounded familiar, but yeah, I'm not really much into the card collecting game or the breaking game or any of that kind of stuff. But I know there's money to be made, and there's a huge collector's industry forming in that. There's a big business in card breaking too. Different, but similar in the memorabilia aspect. Yeah, it's interesting. Why do you collect? I want to ask this question. Why do you collect cards? Do you do it because you like the collection, or do you do it as an investment? Because I'm not a collector. I have nickel and dime decorations back here. Never was into collecting anything. Never enjoyed it. But I understand there was money to be made, and I should have probably. I want to see Tanner play, but I'm not going as far as he's the next Brady. Brady went in round 6 because of his 22-year-old dad body. He definitely. Underrated film for me is not an. That's a great movie right there. Yeah, JD's got to get. Dude, that was a phenomenal movie right there. Phenomenally hilarious, stupid movie. Haven't had IPAs in a few days, and yet still believe McKee. Well, are you feeling okay, Rick? How'd you go a few days? I do both. I love the beauty of cards, and I can make money. Gotcha. It's interesting. That's interesting. When I was a kid, I collected baseball cards, but I did it like kids. I traded them. I played with them. I read the back for stats to study, but I never collected them to earn money. Interesting. I'm fascinated about how big of a business it is, and I'm fascinated how much money's to be made, but I don't get it. Oh, good for you. That's awesome. I had some minor valuable cards when I was a kid, but I didn't keep good care of them, so they were worthless, really. I don't drink on work nights usually. Look at you. Discipline. Rick's got more discipline than I knew. I needed to drink on work nights to get through the work nights. Now I'm just an unemployed man. I used to collect cards back when it was still a hobby. When it became a business, I stopped. I got a great, I tell a lot of bad pizza shop stories, but I got a great baseball card collecting story from my pizza shop days. I talk like the pizza shop days were years ago. It literally stopped 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today is when we made settlement. So my favorite card I had growing up was this Tony Gwynn rookie card. I love Tony Gwynn. My favorite non-Phillies baseball player growing up was Tony Gwynn. And I had a near mint rookie card of Tony Gwynn. And I even put it in one of those films and had it protected. And I moved a bunch in my early 20s multiple times. And I lost one bin. In that bin was my Tony Gwynn rookie card. And I was talking to a customer of mine, this is years ago, and we were talking baseball cards. He was a big collector, okay? And telling him about this card that I lost. So I go home after the day. The next day I was off. I come in on Monday, and sitting on my desk at work was a mint condition Tony Gwynn rookie card. He had multiple of them. So he's like, you know what? Here you go. I'm going to give you one of them. The card's worth like $50. But man, it was such a cool thing that customer thought to give me one of his rookie cards. I've been looking for a Kawhi Raptors card. Did they even make them? He wasn't there that long. So it is like anything else. It's a niche industry, but collecting cards in general is huge. Pokemon and Magic. Dude, I was a Magic player in high school before it was cool. I don't remember how to play Magic, but I wish I had my Magic cards. I would love to play Magic the Gathering now and learn how to play it again. A lot of valuable sports cards and comic books. Marky Mark, who comments in the show and was on Friday, is a big comic book collector. I know that. Never much of a collector. Doesn't really know how to stop. You're just stirring the pot. We're real now. Hurts intangibles aren't showing up as much, and his quarterback play isn't making up for it. And defenses know it, and quarterbacks are evolving their game, and Hurts isn't. I think just look at Steve. Wait until the end of the show to come out. He didn't want to dominate with his killer comments like yesterday. But you're right. His intangibles haven't been there the last couple of weeks, and without intangibles showing up, the rest isn't good enough. See, I said something negative. Without the intangibles, the rest isn't good enough. It was a nice story. Soldier Steve, I wonder what they do in the quarterback room to counter defenses. That's a coaching thing. I have an error bobblehead that is Cal Ripken Jr.'s body and head, but the base plate says Tony Gwynn. Okay. So I had an error collectible or error baseball card where I believe it was Juan Gonzalez, and the number was backwards on the picture. It was like some kind of reflection thing. And supposedly that was valuable at the time. But I don't know. That got lost as well. Yeah, man. Been a huge fan of Marvel Comics. I love comic books, and I love cartoons and the comic book stories and stuff like that, but I never collected them. I read them and traded them away. Eagles still a good team. What's up, Bucks fan? How you feeling today? It's been a while since we've had you in the chat. I got comic books worth more than some cards. Wow. Playing Magic, the Magic got too complicated after I don't even know what that is. I got started playing Magic the Gathering in like 94, 95. I remember going to a comic book store in a mall to play in a tournament once. I don't even remember how to play it, but it's been 30 plus years since I played it. But it was cool back then. It wasn't cool to play it though. You were a nerd back then for it. 3 McGuire rookie cards and a Barry Bonds rookie. At one time, they were both worth good money. Sports memorabilia and cards are going back up, Jason. So if they're still in good shape, someday they might be worth something again. Eagles still team to beat otherwise. Yeah. To be the man, Bucks, Skull Gang, to be the man, guess what? You got to beat the man. So until the Eagles are not Super Bowl champions anymore, they're still the champs. I think that the off rooms are at odds and don't seem. There could be a fracture, for sure. Pokemon cards keep my closet. Ron Jaworski gave me 2 football autographed with his Eagles team and went to Super Bowl for promoting his beer on my podcast. Cool dude. I've reached out to Ron Jaworski for multiple things, multiple times. I had him on my original I think it was like the 4th episode of a podcast I ever did in 2020. I had Ron Jaworski on for 20 minutes. It was a great interview. Since then, I've reached out to him like 3-4 times. Emailed him. Never got a response. Not even to have him as a guest for other things. Went to Ohio and D.C. to play in tourneys. Hit the finals and semis respectively in the 90s. Okay. We would have been friends back then. I had 1 or 2 expensive cards too. I've met Jaws once. He's a really nice guy. Jaws was a great guest. I wasn't ready to have Jaws on the guest, but I did. I have some collectible ones for years. Wow. Instead of starting McKee, what about giving him first-team reps for a day of practice? Make it a competition to make Hurts feel like McKee is right over his shoulder. Would it I think that would cause just as much drama because it would stir the pot, the media. It would stir so much up. Look, even thinking that Tanner McKee should play or practice or start or whatever, do we not understand how successful Jalen Hurts has been over the last 4.5 years? Do we not understand that we are in the greatest era of Eagles football? And a huge part of that is Jalen Hurts. And because of a 4-week stretch, we're ready to move on from the guy? Or we're contemplating other options? Do we not understand how ridiculous that sounds? And I'm not knocking your thoughts on this, guys, in general, because a bunch of you say this. Do we not understand how ridiculous pulling the plug after 4 weeks on arguably the best era of Eagles football is? It's crazy. A beer pong tournament. Was quite the player back in the day. Justin Herbert will make a name for himself and will be cinematic. Stop. There's so many people have bookmarked comments of my Justin Herbert's take just waiting for Sunday or Monday night. Always have value and will always sell. I don't even know what they are. My profile pick's a Fortnite card that was actually never released. Never played a second of Fortnite. Don't know anything about it other than it's a game. Not the problem with this team. Jalen is not the problem. In Jalen's defense, the Eagles went 2-2 in 4 weeks. Yeah. We were 2-2 last year to start the year. A lot of bad things. McKee does get snaps to the first team at the end of the week because he is quarterback too. That is true. Hurts holding the ball too long hasn't been a 4-week thing. That's been a 4-year thing. And they found a way to win with it. I think this team is doing itself a disservice by not finding out what we have in McKee. Because of 4 bad weeks, we've got to explore all options. Or we got to understand that there's going to be ebbs and flows in a season and a career. And we're just in one of those. Do you think Kansas City is talking about benching Patrick Mahomes? Do you think Buffalo wants to bench Josh Allen? Do you think Lamar Jackson was getting talked about being benched? Jalen might be a problem, but there are bigger problems to resolve before we get to that. That's fair. Every quarterback holds the ball too long. That is true as well. Hurts rolling right and throwing away is a 4-year thing. Okay, so he holds on the ball too long. He doesn't hold it long enough. He doesn't stay in the pocket long enough. He rolls out too quickly. People just want to find things wrong. Phil, in your opinion, does Hurts read defenses well and miss seeing wide open receivers or hold the ball too long? So I think there's multiple questions. You think this is one question. There's multiple questions here. Does Hurts read defenses well? I mean, he doesn't turn the ball over, so that would mean he does it at least somewhat well. Does it take him a little too long to maybe process things when he's in the pocket? Possibly. And the point of that, it's part on him. It's part of him on having lack of faith in the offensive line holding up. Now, does he hold the ball too long? Maybe. But when he wasn't holding onto the ball too long, everyone complained that he didn't hold it on long enough. So my question is, were you saying that he was leaving the pocket too quickly 2 years ago? Were you saying he's got to hang in there and trust the options in front of him instead of taking off? Hurts taking a dumb sack in 4 years. I mean, he really doesn't get sacked that much. He turned the ball over. Yeah, he did. First, everybody wanted him to take more risks because he wouldn't do it. He takes 2 risks. He makes 2 turnovers. Well, the tush push wasn't a risk. That was just a bad play call. And now he's still the least turned over quarterback in the NFL. Asking Phil Hurts questions is a lost cause. I am not his legal team. I will criticize him. But I'm looking at the big picture. Okay? Hurts reads defense better than he did as a rookie. You could see that. Ball security and progressing through his reads. You guys could say whatever you want about him. Hurts should spend an offseason with Flacco on practicing his quick release. Maybe. Maybe he does. If he lacks faith in his O-line, then why hold the ball too long? But that's the thing. He didn't hold the ball too long. That is something that's become a problem. He used to go to his first read and then take off. And everyone says, oh, he shouldn't do that. He should go through his progressions. Now he goes through his progressions and he holds it too long. Because, again, he can't win. The problem is he shouldn't need to get to his 3rd and 4th read. He shouldn't. Maybe A.J. Brown should get open. Maybe A.J. Brown should run a route for him. Jalen should have hit Goddard on the play where he threw a bad pass to Smitty. Yeah, absolutely. That's such an overblown play. It was miscommunication. Hurts thought he was going to go one way. Smitty went the other way. It is what it is. It's a miss. It's a miscommunication that happens on every team. And at that point, Goddard wasn't open yet. At that point, to get to Goddard, he would have had to hold on to the ball too long. And the defensive line was crashing in on him. Not a bad play calling on tush push, just a bad turnover. Well, it was a bad call. They didn't need to go for it there. It was a long one. They do use the tush push too much. They set the tush push up instead of just using the tush push when necessary. But yeah, it was a bad turnover. And Hurts did get careless with the football because he's been given that opportunity to be careless because the rest call forward progress. They just decided not to do it that time. No room for off-season workouts. Jalen is booked filming Hulu commercials. Everyone hates when athletes film commercials. Hurts seems to be regressing, in your opinion. I don't know if he's regressing. He's had 4 bad weeks. Are we judging Hurts on 4 weeks? Do great quarterbacks lead their receivers? I'm assuming you mean lead. Yes. And yes, Jalen Hurts did not lead Devontae Smith there. Rick, I may not agree with you a lot, but you're talking. No, I mean, it's just a disagreement. I do not rehearse anything. This is all natural. This is an hour and 35 minutes of all natural. The tush pushes caused Hurts not to want to run the ball. That is possible. That is very possible. That has something to do with it. It is very possible. Maybe the tush push does hurt him more than it helps him. Mahomes is on every commercial break in a State Farm ad. The commercials mean nothing. Stop. Exactly. You might be right. There might be a little regression, a little this season, but every quarterback has bad games. And I can't. You don't want us to overreact to the Eagles being 8-4, but you want to overreact to 4 bad games. Look, I admit that I am biased, that I am a Jalen Hurts supporter. I do criticize him when it's necessary, but I am a Jalen Hurts supporter. There is no lie. There is no defending that from me. I can't say you're wrong, but I would much rather roll on with Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years, knowing he's going to put us in a position to succeed than the opposite. I'd much rather the known commodity of Jalen Hurts than the unknown of anybody else. I am a Jalenite. I've never denied that. Jalen Hurts should be the quarterback of this team for at least the next 5 years. In fact, Jalen Hurts should sign an extension in the offseason, a renegotiated extension. One, because it would free up more cap space, but he's massively underpaid for the success he's had. Negative. I disagree. Wholeheartedly disagree. We're going to wrap this baby up. We got 21 likes today. Not quite the success of yesterday. No new subscribers today. Not quite the success. Maybe Mahomes should stop peeing in commercials. Maybe he should. 4 bad games, but even the games they won, how many of them did Hurts actually look good in? He did look good a couple games this year, honestly. It was the defense and drop passes from opponents. All right. Okay. I mean, there's no convincing me that, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts, statistically speaking, is having one of his best years, to be honest. I mean, statistically, Jalen Hurts is putting up numbers like 2022, as close to it. Jalen Hurts is going to surpass last year's touchdown passes, surpass last year's touchdown yards, or passing yards. Yeah, his rushing attempts are down. Dude's got 27 touchdowns combined to 4 turnovers. Okay? I hope Jalen takes the Brady path and takes less money. I mean, he does take less money, and he's what, the 11th annual average salary paid quarterback in the NFL. I actually don't think they can extend. Maybe they can extend him, but I know they definitely can next offseason. They might be able to extend him this offseason, give him a little pay bump and a little bonus, and stretch his cap hit even more. I don't even know why you do. What are worse, the Hulu commercials or the Cure Auto Insurance commercials? Statistically, well, thanks a lot, K1. Statistically, we are worse than Dan Silio's channel. Statistically, that's a really stab me in the heart comment right there. He took less money. He did by signing as early as he did. He was the number 1 paid quarterback in the NFL for 3.7 seconds. It's not funny. It breaks my heart. I'm going over 90 minutes a day now. That's what you're going to do? You're going to break my heart? Your family. Don't ever take sides against the family. All right? Stick with your family. Anyway, we're going to wrap today up. Run some shorts. See what else is on the agenda. I might record a little Sixers thing later today. Maybe I'll record a little Phillies thing. Dude, I say it all the time. All the time. one of the worst. Cilio, or Dan Simpleman, Chris Simpleton, Skip Payless. They're all a bunch of scumbags. Yeah. Marshall or K1 will always stay loyal to Liam. Yeah. I didn't know it was going to be a hit, Phil. Oh, man, you really hit me, man. Hit me hard. Anyway, gonna wrap this baby up. I got to get some breakfast. Got to get some more coffee. You guys have a great day. I knew what I was doing. Anyway, guys, y'all have a great Tuesday. Be careful if you go out and about. The weather's a little messy out there today. I heard Liam was in Philly and didn't put out a fan pub night. Liam didn't. I invited Liam to the pizza shop. He said he'd come. He never came. Liam hung out in Philly, and I didn't hear from him once. Heartbroken. I know where his loyalties lie. Anyway. Dude, I know a lot of really cool Canadian people from my cruise ship days, and I still feel bad for them all. Anyway, guys, have a great Tuesday. Be safe if you go out there. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Same time, 8 a.m. Who knows? Yeah. Have a great day, Warfighter. Liam's not a brother. He's not a friend. He's dead to me. Liam's dead to me. And you can go tell him that on the stream. Everybody have a great day, guys. We will talk tomorrow. Go Birds. Bubbles up.